Hello everyone. Welcome to the virtual class of one of the interesting topic, activity based costing. Today I would like to discuss basic concept of the topic activity based costing. It is one of the most important topic for the subject of cost accounting and management accounting. Let me start our session with the introduction of the chapter. Before understanding all about activity based costing, it is necessary for us to understand the structure of the cost. When we imagine a cost sheet, at that time, the first and foremost element comes to our mind is all about direct materials, then direct labor, and then other direct expenses. Total of all direct expenses are defined as prime cost or direct cost. Direct cost is traceable cost because it is directly related to production. On these prime cost, we need to absorb, we need to recover or charge overheads. There are a few types of overheads available to us. If you want to classify overheads based on its nature, you can classify into variable overheads, semi-variable overheads, and fixed overheads. If you want to classify the overheads based on department, you may classify overheads into three different categories like factory overheads, administrative or office overheads, and last, selling and distribution overheads. Here, the most important part is related to calculation of overheads, and total of prime cost and overheads is referred to as total cost of a product. Now, I would like to discuss one of the important method with you. At the time of learning basic cost accounting, we used to recover our overheads based on a traditional method without considering any activities performed on specific product or not. So the problem was there related to recovery or absorption of overheads in traditional method. So to avoid this problem, the management accountant has developed one of the scientific and technical method. This method is known as activity based costing. Let us understand the structure of cost in detail. Total cost. It is classified into two different categories. First, direct cost, and second, that is indirect cost, technically referred to as overheads. When you say direct cost includes three different elements. First, direct materials, direct labor, and direct expenses or other direct expenses. These expenses are always traceable in nature. It means we can directly transfer amount of direct cost to the production because it is related to the production. But These expenses are not directly related to productions. Specifically, when we are engaged in production of multiple products and we need to absorb, recover, charge or transfer these overheads or indirect expenses in order to calculate our total cost. For the purpose of absorption, we have two different methods. First, traditional method. Traditional method includes 6 different options. We can allocate overheads based on percentage of direct materials or percentage of direct labor. If importance of material and labor are similar or equivalent, then it is advisable to follow third method. Overheads are recovered as a percentage of prime cost. If the production process is capital intensive, then we need to follow machine hour rate. If it is a labor intensive, then labor hour rate. And the simplest option is distribute overheads based on units of output produced. But I would like to put to your notice that traditional methods are full of limitations. And in a traditional method, we are not considering any kind of scientific base for the purpose of distribution or allocation. In order to overcome the limitation of a traditional method to recover the overheads, the modern technique is developed, and this modern technique is known as activity-based costing, popularly known as ABC. In activity-based costing, overheads are allocated to the different products or for the different period of time based on cost driver rate. So, we will discuss cost driver and cost driver rate in detail, because without understanding the term cost driver and cost driver rate, we cannot learn any concept in activity based costing. The chapter itself is very easy. You can even say that activity based costing is nothing more than extension of overheads or indirect cost. Earlier, we have followed traditional method of distribution, and based on a traditional method of distribution, we used it to calculate our total cost. Now, we have to use modern method of distribution, and this modern method is activity based costing. Before understanding important terms of the subject of the chapter, let us understand meaning and definition of activity based costing. Activity based costing is an accounting methodology that assigns cost to activities rather than products or services. It means here we need to consider different activities. For the purpose of distribution of overheads, we will not directly use product and services. So first of all, we have to define different activities. One more meaning is available on your screen. Activity based costing is a technique which involves identification of a cost. The first and foremost function is identification of cost with each cost driving activity and making it as the basis of allocation of each cost over a different cost object, task, jobs, products, services, etc. The meaning itself is expressive. Here we need to identify the cost. Say for example, if you say expenses incurred on storage, insurance of inventory, carrying cost that is related to purchase. So if you combined all these activities, you can come to a conclusion that these all expenses are related to procurement of the materials. And as it is related to procurement of material, let us prepare a group, a pool. So first we need to identify the cost, and based on these costs we need to identify the cost driving activity. All expenses are incurred by the company in a random form, but we need to club all these expenditure into different groups and subgroups. Based on groups and subgroups, we need to prepare our cost drivers that we will discuss at the time of discussion of first practical question in detail. So as you can understand the application of ABC in a practical way. Right now, we are not using any of the traditional base that we have applied earlier. Here the most important item that you need to remember is that we need to calculate the cost, and for the purpose of distribution of the cost we need to take the base of different activities. So without considering activities, we are not going to distribute our expenditure to any of the product. It is a logical and justifiable decision of the manufacturing unit. Let me explain this thing through one example. Say for example, marketing expenditure is rupees 10,000 and company is making two products, X and Y. So in a traditional method, without using any logic, we used it to transfer 5,000 to product X and 5,000 to product Y. In this way, we can convince ourselves that we have distributed rupees 10,000. But we need to think twice before distribution of rupees 10,000. Let us understand the fact first. Company X is at a monopoly and company is manufacturing product X with the monopoly and nobody else is manufacturing these product in the local market. So there is no other option with the customers. And product Y is highly competitive. 10, 20 manufacturers are making product similar to product Y, and the company is facing cutthroat competition in selling product Y in the market. Now, as a student of commerce, you can easily understand that if product X is at a monopoly, we are not in a need of any kind of advertisement, or very less expenses required on product X just to make aware our customers about product X, nothing else. But we need to pay more expenditure on product Y because we are facing cutthroat competition for product Y. And for the survival of product Y in the market, we are in need of huge expenditure on Y. Now, out of these 10,000, if you are following a traditional method like this is absolutely a wrong cost structure. But logically, we have to think that the proportion of advertisement for product X and Y is 1:9. It means when we are giving one advertisement of product X, we have given 9 advertisement of product Y. So these 10,000 is required to distribute in X and Y like this: 1,000 to X and 9,000 to Y. So this is a justifiable approach. In a traditional approach, we are using simply the number of products or number of units produced, number of machine hours employed, so on. So the cost structure of both the products were incorrect if we are following traditional cost method. In order to solve these kind of problem, the modern method is developed, and this modern method is activity based costing. Let us move to the next part. In this part, I would like to discuss one important item, and this important item is related to important terms associated with this chapter. Here, I will explain a few important terms with you, and it is the most important. First, activity. The term activity refers to an event that incurs the cost. In activity-based costing, the term activity is connected with any activity or any event that incurs the cost. It means if we are paying expenditure, if we are paying amount for any of the event, say for example, shifting goods from store A to store B. So shifting goods from store A to store B requires huge cost of transportation. So you can say it is your activity. So the term activity refers to an event that incurs the cost. Second, a cost object. The cost object is an item for which cost measurement is required. Now, we need to understand the term cost object very carefully. Cost object is an item for which cost measurement is required. Cost object may be a product, may be a customer, may be a process. Say for example, if we are paying something on polishing the product, you can say polishing is an activity and the cost object is per unit of a product. But if your customer insists you to polish the product for their orders only and they are ready to pay for this, in this situation, cost object is a customer, because whatever the cost we are going to pay, that we can recover from our customer. So it may be product, it may be process, or it may be customer. Then cost pool. The cost pool referred to as a group of different cost items. It is nothing more than a group of different cost items connected to the same activity. For example, purchase. Purchase is referred to as an activity, and all the expenses incurred for the purchase related activities defined as cost pool. Let me explain that when we understand the activity of purchase, we need to think twice how many expenses are incurred on purchase. The first expenditure incurred on purchase is ordering cost, and the second expenditure is carrying cost. In carrying cost, a few items are incorporated. First, it is a transportation. Second, it is insurance. Third, it is storage. And fourth, that is interest on investment, if any. So when you say purchase, expenses of purchase are defined into two different categories. One is ordering cost, another is a carrying cost. These carrying cost further classify into transportation, insurance, storage, and interest on investment. So you can easily understand that these all expenses that we have incurred is related to purchase. It means our activity is a purchase, and cost pool. Cost pool means total of all the expenses incurred by us on these activities related to purchase. For the purpose of learning activity-based costing, it is necessary to prepare cost pool for the expenses related to different activities as recommended or suggested in the question. But for us, cost pool will be ready-made given by the examiner. Cost driver. The cost driver is a factor or element that causes a change in the cost of an activity. For example, number of orders, number of machine setups, number of machine hours, etc. Cost drivers. Cost driver is defined as a factor, and this factor is most important to understand in order to distribute the expenditure to the different task, different product, different process. How it is working? Because the change in a cost driver resulting into change in the cost. Say for example, we have incurred 10,000 rupees on purchase related activities. So you can say these 10,000 is a cost pool, and the scientific base to distribute these 10,000 is number of orders. How many orders we have placed during the year. Say for example, number of orders are 10 as we have mentioned. So you can say that 10,000 rupees incurred for 10 number of orders. It means the average cost per order is 1,000 rupees. Now just imagine, due to any of the reason, number of orders are increased from 10 to 18. So if number of orders are increased, it means the cost of purchase will be 18,000 rupees because we are paying around 1000 rupees per order. So, number of orders are capable to change in the cost of an activity. Say for example, I would like to distribute these 10,000 for the period of 12 months. In January, there was no order in the month of January. So, the cost transferred to the month of January is 0. February, we have placed one order. So, the cost of February related to ordering is 1000. During March, again we have not placed any order, so cost will be 0. But April is the season of purchasing the inventory. Just imagine that we are dealing in the seasonal product and we have placed 7 orders in the month of April. So the cost of ordering shifted to the month of April for rupees 7,000. 7 orders multiplied by 1000. And May, we have placed 2 orders in order to justify the total purchase. So the cost distributed 2000 rupees for the month of May. Now imagine we have placed 10 orders and paid rupees 10,000. So out of these 10,000, 1000 rupees are transferred to the month of February, 7,000 to April and 2000 to May. Out of 12 months, we have distributed 1000 for February, 7000 for April and 2000 for the month of May. What about rest of the period? 0. If you follow traditional method, 10,000 divided by 12 months, so 833.33 allocated from January to December in a uniform or flat rate. But here we need to consider the number of activities performed during the concerned period. After discussion of cost driver, let us understand cost driver rate. The cost driver rate is referred to as the rate of recovery of overheads on the basis of suitable cost driver. The important term used over here is a suitable cost driver. Cost driver rate is nothing more than simply division of total cost of activity divided by cost drivers of the activity. Let me clear with one example. Say for example, we have incurred rupees 10,000 on quality control and inspection. So quality control and inspection is known as activity. We have incurred total of rupees 10,000 on different activities related to cost control and inspection. So these 10,000 is a total of all concerned activities related to this task. So 10,000 is known as a cost pool. It is known as cost pool. Quality control and inspection, it is activity. Total expenditure incurred rupees 10,000, it is cost pool. Now, in order to distribute these 10,000, we need to find a suitable base. And the suitable base is number of inspection. How many inspections or quality control cycle performed? Say for example, 20 quality control cycle or inspection cycle performed. So these 20 quality control or inspection cycle is known as cost driver. Known as cost driver. And cost driver rate 10,000 rupees, total cost of quality control and inspection, and total quality control or inspection task performed 20. So the cost driver rate is 500 per quality control or inspection. So in this way, we have to understand activity, cost pool, cost driver, and on the basis of cost pool and cost driver, we can easily calculate cost driver rate. Entire activity based costing concept is working on cost driver rate. So clear your fundamentals very properly. I hope everybody is clear with the concept of activity based costing with all important terminologies. Keep watching the next sessions. Thank you. God bless you. Mira.